The word of the Lord came to Jonah on a quiet morning, as the first rays of golden sun crested the barren rocky hills outside his city. There he stood, silhouetted on a ridge against an endless blue sky, his robe fluttering in the gentle dawn breeze. Before him stretched a vast, sun-baked desert, endless and daunting, yet pale in comparison to the weight of the message stirring inside him. God's voice was clear. Go at once to the great city of Nineveh, for its wickedness had risen before heaven itself. Jonah hesitated, his heart troubled. The thought of facing Nineveh, a city both mighty and unyielding, filled him with dread. Shadows flickered across his face, half lit by the rising sun, as anxiety gripped him. Could one man truly stand between a city's sins and divine wrath? Fear soon overcame conviction, and Jonah made a desperate choice. Turning from the desert and Nineveh's call, he hurried toward the commotion of a bustling ancient port. In the bright midday light, vibrant market stalls overflowed with goods, merchants barked their prices, and the air rang with the smells of spice, sea, and sweat. Jonah wove anxiously through the teeming throng, eyes fixed on the great wooden ships waiting at the water's edge. His mind raced. Tarshish was far, far from Nineveh, and he hoped, far from God's command. At the dock, the gleam of silver coins passed from Jonah's trembling hand into the burly grip of a sailor. Behind them, sailors shouted and prepared the ship to depart, barrels and ropes scattered across the busy dock. As the sun sparkled on the shimmering sea, Jonah boarded the ship, feeling a brief false relief as land slipped into the horizon behind him. He gripped the weathered wooden railing, the salty wind in his face, eyes fixed on the wide ocean stretching out before him. His heart, however, thudded with unease. Jonah was running away, but could he ever outpace the voice that called him? But the Lord was not finished with Jonah. As the vessel sailed farther from shore, the sky darkened, the wind rising fast and cold. Without warning, a howling tempest shook the ship. Black storm clouds churned above as monstrous waves battered the wooden hull, threatening to smash it to splinters. Lightning split the sky in jagged white bolts. The air pulsed with thunder. Terror seized the crew. Stumbling across the rain-lashed deck, sailors clung to ropes and rails, shouting prayers to their gods in desperate voices. Water poured across the planks. The captain and crew grew frantic. Who could endure such a storm? Jonah knew. Amid the uproar, his guilt burned hot. He confessed. It was his flight from God that had brought this disaster upon them. "Pick me up and throw me into the sea," he shouted into the whirlwind, rain streaming down his face, voice echoing with urgency. Reluctantly, with sorrow and fear, the sailors lifted Jonah and cast him overboard, arms outstretched as he fell toward the surging, blackened waters. The moment Jonah vanished below the waves, the sea stilled. The storm faded as quickly as it had come. The clouds broke, sunlight poured from above, and peace descended upon the trembling ship. The sailors watched in awe, silent witnesses to a miracle. Beneath the surface, Jonah sank into the cold, shadowy depths, robes swirling around him as his strength waned. Suddenly, from the dark blue, a massive fish, greater than any he could have imagined, loomed from below. With a powerful sweep of its tail, it swallowed Jonah whole, plunging him into complete darkness. Inside the fish's belly, an eerie blue-green light glowed against slick, living walls. Jonah curled upon himself, alone and silent, the depths pressing in from every side. Within the gloom, overwhelmed by fear and regret, Jonah began to pray. He knelt, clasped his hands, and poured out his heart to God. "In my distress I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From deep within the realm of the dead, I called for help, and you listened to my cry." Tears streaked Jonah's face, and despair mingled with hope. In the belly of the fish, cut off from land, light, and the world he knew, Jonah realized that even here, far beneath the waves, God had heard him. Hope stirred within as Jonah lifted his head, his soul rekindled. "But you, Lord my God, brought my life up from the pit. When my life was ebbing away, I remembered you." For 3 days and nights, Jonah waited in the glowing darkness, his only companion God's mercy. At last, God commanded the great fish, and, in a rush, Jonah found himself cast forth upon a sandy shore. He lay sprawled and exhausted on the sun-warmed beach, robes drenched and body weak. As he caught his breath, The giant fish slid back into the waves, its task complete. Jonah gazed into the sky above, stunned and grateful to be alive, and the command he had once fled from returned with unmistakable clarity. "Arise, go to Nineveh, and deliver my message." Jonah obeyed. He journeyed toward the formidable city, approaching Nineveh's towering walls from a high, windswept hill. Before him stretched a city bustling with life, its streets winding through grand buildings and crowded markets. Jonah walked the dusty path, each step a move toward destiny, past farmers, traders, and children who watched with curiosity. When he entered the heart of Nineveh, he lifted his voice, crying out, "40 more days and Nineveh will be overthrown." His words echoed off the baked stone streets, urgent and fierce. To his amazement, the people of Nineveh listened. Men, women, and children donned sackcloth and knelt in the city's great square, sorrow weighing heavy on the air. From the richest to the poorest, they repented and pleaded for mercy, their prayers rising as the sun dipped toward the horizon. As twilight bathed Nineveh in golden peace, God looked upon the city and saw their change of heart. Compassion won over judgment. The city was spared from ruin. Outside Nineveh, however, Jonah watched with stormy bitterness. It seemed deeply wrong to him that such a wicked city should be forgiven. He sat in the empty heat outside the city walls, resentment etching deep lines into his face. "Now, Lord, take away my life, for it is better for me to die than to live," he cried, despair overwhelming him. Yet God in his tenderness provided a leafy plant, which sprang up overnight, shading Jonah from the relentless sun. Jonah was glad for the comfort, a brief respite from his anger, but by dawn, a worm had gnawed the plant's roots, and it withered away. The scorching wind beat down, sweat poured down Jonah's face, and his rage burned hotter than ever. In that moment, God questioned him. "Is it right for you to be angry about the plant?" Surprised, Jonah looked skyward as if to demand an answer. God's voice was gentle but firm. "You have been concerned about this plant, though you did not tend it or make it grow. Should I not have concern for the great city of Nineveh, in which there are more than 120,000 people who cannot tell their right hand from their left?" As sunlight bathed the city in warmth, Jonah sat upon the hill, pondering mercy, justice, and the unexpected breadth of compassion. In the end, the story is not only about a city or a prophet, but about the boundless mercy at the heart of creation, always seeking to call every wandering soul back home. When God calls you to action, never try to run away from God.